One of my favourite cities in the country, this one's amazing. When we were kids, there is, and has been for a long time. We used to come here as kids, like when we had all good. David Crisafulli, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Parliament is not due to return for 6 weeks, and people in the far north can't wait that long for a solution to the youth crime epidemic that is gripping this city and gripping the state. And we're calling on the government to end the holiday, get back to work and make the changes that are needed. The government's response to what has been an incredibly chaotic and heartbreaking last few weeks has been to put ads in the newspaper saying that solutions will be put on the table. That's not going to change a single thing. Only legislative change will do the trick. Now, we've put forward our solution, and that is change the Youth Justice Act to make consequences for actions matter and make breach of bail an offence. But people know my style. I never oppose for the sake of opposition, and if the government's willing to put forward things that they believe can work, we will look at them constructively. We'll put forward our solutions on what we would do differently, but ultimately we'll make the change that's needed. But I'm certainly not going to sit by and watch the carnage continue while the government refuses to listen and recall Parliament. 6 weeks is a ridiculous period of time to wait. And in the meantime, we are seeing carnage unfold across the far north and indeed across the state. I want to introduce you to Lauren, and I'm doing so because I'm keen to show the consequences of not acting. Lauren has a very personal story about the impacts both at home, on the road, and what it's meant to her socially, but also economically. And in a year where cost of living is going to be a big thing for Queenslanders, there is an impact on a government being weak on youth crime. And that impact is not feeling safe in your home, on the streets, but it's also in your hip pocket. Lauren, over to you.
Now it's getting a little bit closer. Fantastic. And can you just spell your name for us as well?
Laurenhiggs.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Well, maybe can we start, can you tell us about your experience with the break-in a little while ago?
Yeah, so I got broken into any time between 3 and 6 a.m. one morning. My keys got stolen, as well as my partner's wallet. And obviously my keys had my house keys on them, they had my work keys on them, and basically I had to change every single lock. I had to change absolutely everything, and it was super disheartening to be able to wake up one morning, your house being open, your brand new car being stolen, and it was, it became a very expensive trip.
How disheartening was that, waking up and seeing what had happened?
Yeah, it was not a great feeling. Not being able to feel safe in your own home is really not a good feeling at all.
What's the psychological, after effects that you'll be living with after that?
I triple lock everything now. I have my 2 dogs inside now just for extra security, and I know a lot of people in Cairns are going to be doing the same. I know so many people now have cameras on their house, there's cameras everywhere on every single home now, but that still won't stop them. There's video evidence of them breaking in, and they still get away with it. Being under 18, they just don't really care.
Did you get much of a response from police? Did they sort of indicate what the likelihood of being able to recover your property would be?
So the police were really good. They came to my house that morning as soon as I called them. They've been really onto it, and they've been really, really good with both of my situations with youth crime. They've been really good, but it's the courts and the political people that are just not caring. At the end of the day, they just don't care about what's happening to the community, and
When's life going to get back to normal for you, do you think?
So after the first break-in happened, and I, ended up having to pay the excess to my car to be able to get my car back, because the person was under 18, I ended up having to pay the excess for that one, which was a nice $975. After I got that one back, I think I had my car back for probably about 6 months, and then after that I was going down a one-way street and my car got hit by a stolen car. which then was another $975 to get my car back because they were underage again, which then went on the flow-on effect of my insurance going up as well. So not only having to pay an extra almost $2,000, but it's a flow-on effect of my insurance now.
Financially, how much has this been a burden for you having to pay these expenses?
Oh, it's been a decent chunk. Like, I luckily am in a pretty decent financial place, but I know a lot of people are just really struggling at the moment, and if they, can't get their car back because they can't pay, the insurance, that means they either choose to get their car to, go back to work, or they, don't put food on the table. It's really becoming really expensive for a lot of people.
What do you think needs to happen to see these sorts of incidents stop?
The courts need to change. Something needs to change where they just don't get away with it. Like, it's becoming a point where people in Cairns are absolutely over it, and I'm not the only person, and I know that it'll get to a point where people won't take it anymore, and it will get dangerous real quick.
Thank you. I was going to make one more quick point, and that is we're here in front of a police beat, and I think I'm not lost on what Lauren just said, and that is universally the feedback we get is people feel the police are just doing an amazing job. They're responsive, they're empathetic, they get it. Imagine how disheartening it is for the police to turn up time and time again and know that the same perpetrators are the ones that did a similar job a few days before, and the only thing that's different is the life of which Far North Queensland has been turned upside down this time. And that's the Groundhog Day they're experiencing, and that's why we want to see consequences for action. And like most Queenslanders, Lauren looks at the court system and says, well, what's going on? Well, that's our job as legislators to ensure that the legislation is in line with community standards. And that's what's got to change, and that's why we've got to get back to work. And increasingly I'm just becoming frustrated because you're seeing what it is doing to beautiful communities, and it's ripping the soul out of it. And it can't continue. It can't continue emotionally, socially and financially. And I think we're missing the mark on both ends of the Youth Justice Act. We're not getting in early enough and giving young people the opportunity to turn their life around, giving them education and employment and aspiration. We're missing the mark on that. And then we're missing the mark at the other end, where we're allowing a generation of repeat hardcore offenders to just go about their business. And they are becoming the Pied Pipers who are leading the next generation astray. And the change to the Youth Justice Act was made 7 years ago. And as a result, you now have a generation of repeat hardcore young offenders who know that consequences for actions aren't there, who know that their bail conditions mean absolutely nothing, and who know that their rights are greater than the rights of the victim. And you're going to continue to see this play out, and it has to stop. And the only way to make that stop is to make consequences for actions matter. Thank you. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, sure.
Walking in and talking, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Lauren, thank you. I just want to get a couple of shots of us chatting and